Hey everyone, welcome back to another explainer. Today, we've got a seriously incredible story to unpack. We're going to be looking at the life of a 20-year-old guy named Leo. He lived in this quiet little mountain town, and his journey, well, it goes from crushing poverty all the way to massive entrepreneurial success. Honestly, it provides us with this perfect, actionable blueprint for overcoming life's absolutely hardest setbacks. So if you've ever felt like your goals are just kind of out of reach, because you don't have the resources, stick around. This explainer is built exactly for you. Okay, let's dive right into this. So Leo's family was really struggling. His dad, Mark, was a mechanic, and his mom was cleaning houses just to barely make ends meet. And Leo, he desperately wanted to help them out. He wanted to provide a better life, especially for his 10-year-old sister. But he had absolutely zero money to start a business. None. When he vented about this to his dad, his father gave him this profound piece of advice. He said, "Dreams are not free. If you want something, you have to fight for it." And that idea right there, that becomes the absolute engine for everything Leo does next. Which brings us right into phase 1, a dream without money. Taking his dad's words to heart, Leo noticed a huge gap in his local market. The townspeople absolutely loved fresh bread, right? But the nearest bakery was literally miles away. So the solution was obvious: bring the bread to the people. But here is the massive hurdle. How on earth do you start selling inventory when your bank account is sitting at exactly zero? Well, Leo came up with this brilliant zero capital business plan. He walked miles to meet this grumpy, kind of distant baker named Mr. Anderson. Armed with nothing but pure confidence, Leo pitched a simple 3-step process. Step 1, give me bread on credit for just 1 week. Step 2, I'll sell it locally. And step 3, I'll return your money and keep only a tiny profit for myself. Mr. Anderson was definitely skeptical, but Leo's fierce determination, it actually convinced the old man to give him a 1-week trial. So every single day, Leo was up way before the sun. He hauled this heavy bread all the way back to his town, set up a tiny stand near the park, and enthusiastically greeted every single person with a simple, loud promise: fresh bread, warm and delicious. I mean, his energy was infectious, and when people were a little hesitant, he just handed out free samples to prove the quality. Guess what? He sold out on day 1. After 2 months of tirelessly walking back and forth, he finally saved up enough profit to buy a small transport cart. And that leads us directly into phase 2, the price of knowledge. All right, so Leo now had a cart, but a customer pointed out a pretty hard truth. If he really wanted to scale his profits, he had to stop being just the middleman. He needed to bake the bread himself. The problem? He had absolutely zero kitchen skills. Literally none. He realized that, just like success, knowledge isn't free either. He had to take a risk to learn. Now, what's really interesting here is the obvious question: why would anyone teach their own competition? When Leo asked Mr. Anderson to mentor him, the baker naturally frowned. He pointed out that if Leo baked his own bread, he'd lose him as a buyer. But Leo countered. He promised mutual support. He said he would never, ever forget the man who gave him his first chance. And he promised to help Mr. Anderson's bakery out once he succeeded himself. And you know what? It worked. The mentorship began. But let's be real, learning a new skill is rarely glamorous. Leo was getting to the bakery every single day at 3 a.m. Days into it, he was going through these really dark moments. I mean, actual physical pain. His hands were just aching from kneading so much dough. And he was constantly pulling out ruined, totally inedible batches of bread. He felt completely defeated. He almost quit. But he remembered his dad's mantra: nothing is free. So he kept pushing. And finally, 2 weeks later, Mr. Anderson handed him a loaf and told him it was absolutely perfect. That timeline of struggle, it totally paid off. Armed with this new knowledge, we roll right into phase 3, surviving the competition.
So, Leo successfully opens his own home bakery. He expands into cookies, pastries, and his community is just loving it. He's finally seeing real success. But business is never static, is it? Out of nowhere, this massive new threat rolls into town: a rival businessman named Eric. This perfectly illustrates your classic David versus Goliath scenario. You've got Leo operating from this modest, simple little cart, and then you've got Eric, who opens this massive, fancy shop with bright, colorful signs and gorgeous decorations. Naturally, people were immediately drawn to the shiny new object. Almost overnight, Leo's sales just plummeted. He was terrified of losing everything he'd worked so hard to build.
But here's the thing about Leo. He chose adaptation over panic. He looked at the situation logically and executed 4 really crucial steps. First, he swallowed his pride and actually asked his remaining customers for direct feedback on what Eric was doing better. Second, he dipped into his savings to paint and decorate his own cart. Make it pop, you know? Third, he lured people back by offering free samples of brand new pastries. And fourth, this is my absolute favorite, he literally went down to the local library, watched videos, and taught himself how to elegantly decorate cakes. This relentless, never-say-die drive won his customers right back, and it eventually allowed him to rent his very own brick-and-mortar shop, called Leo's Fresh Bakes. Things were going incredibly well, but of course, life wasn't quite done testing him. This brings us to Phase 4, Rising from the Ashes. One stormy night, total disaster struck. A fire broke out right near his ovens. And while Leo managed to put out the flames, nearly all of his hard-earned bakery equipment was completely destroyed. Just gone. It is literally the ultimate nightmare for any entrepreneur. It forces you to ask a really heavy question. What do you do when you lose everything? The townspeople were already whispering that this was the end for him. Leo was absolutely heartbroken. He calculated his savings and realized he simply didn't have enough to replace the damaged equipment. So, feeling desperate, he went back to his old mentor, the now retired Mr. Anderson, and just pleaded for advice on what to do next. In Mr. Anderson's response, it changed everything. He looked at Leo and said, "You've taught yourself that nothing is free. Work harder, believe in yourself, and people will believe in you too." So the crucial takeaway here is that Leo realized he couldn't just sit around waiting for a magical rescuer. He immediately marched home, gathered whatever tiny, undamaged pieces of equipment he had left, and literally just started baking again right out of his house. He told his customers he would absolutely not let them down, even if his output was small for a while. And that leads us to a super powerful truth. When you help yourself, others will help you. Seeing Leo refuse to just lay down and give up, the community was deeply moved. And they didn't just offer sympathy, right? They offered action. Townspeople started donating ingredients, some gave small amounts of money, others literally showed up with tools in hand to help him clean and repair the burnt-out bakery. His relentless effort basically became a magnet for community support. This amazing display of community resilience brings us to our final chapter, Phase 5, The Cost of Success. After months of grueling, incredibly collaborative hard work, Leo didn't just reopen his bakery. He upgraded the whole shebang. New decorations, freshly painted walls, a vastly expanded menu. The day of the grand reopening was a massive triumph. Even the town mayor showed up to publicly praise Leo as a true inspiration who proved that anything is possible with enough determination. So let's synthesize everything we've learned today into 4 actionable rules for whenever you face your own setbacks. Number 1, dreams require hard work and sacrifice. They are never just handed to you. Number 2, failure is not an endpoint. It's honestly just a chance to learn and adapt, exactly like Leo did with Eric. Number 3, help yourself first, and only then will others step in to support your momentum. And number 4, never, ever give up, because the absolute darkest moments, like a literal fire destroying your livelihood, often directly precede your greatest success. Leo didn't just build a bakery, guys. He built a life of total purpose because he deeply understood the cost of his ambitions. So I want to leave you with this to think about. What is your dream? Whatever it is, do not stop chasing it. Remember the core lesson of today's explainer: nothing is free, but with relentless effort, absolutely everything is possible. Thanks so much for hanging out and focusing in with me today. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.